Welcome to the Permission Slip podcast, where I, empowerment coach, mindset expert, and holistic nutritionist Carmen share with you the tools, conversations, and resources you need to write your own permission slip, take massive action, and become obsessed with your own life. Let's get started. So welcome back to the Permission Slip podcast. We have another exciting roundtable episode for you. And today's topic is going to be all around investing in yourself. And so I have two amazing humans and women that I love that are here with me. I have Corree and Jen, who are both clients, graduates of Flow Academy, and dear friends. And we're here today to talk to you about investing in yourselves. When I brought up this subject to them, they both said unanimously, like, yes, once I started making investments in myself, that's really when the growth in my life really started to happen, whether that be personally or professionally or within our relationships or within our health. It's when we do take the time to do that things really change for us. And so that's what our topic is going to be today. But like always on our roundtable, I want you to get to know the ladies a little bit first. So we'll do some rapid fire questions first, and then we'll just have a little bit of a chat about investing in ourselves with the intention and the hope that if you are investing in yourselves, that you make sure that you're making the right investments for you in this season of your life. And the other intention is if you haven't started doing that and you still feel like you're stuck or in a place where you're doing it all alone, or maybe even something that I was writing the other day to the community was, do you ever feel like nothing's wrong, but everything's wrong? Even though everything's good in your life and you just can't put your finger on it? Maybe this episode is for you because maybe you need to make an investment in yourself so you can dig in a little bit deeper into your desires, or maybe even where you're upper limiting yourself or having some limiting beliefs. So we'll go ahead and dive right into it. So we'll go ahead and start with Corree, and let's just start with a few rapid fire questions. Welcome.
Thank you.
Where did you grow up?
A little town called Albany, Oregon.
All right. Guess what? Same. I actually didn't know that we both actually grew up in Albany. So, I mean, I knew that we were from the same area, but where do you live now? And tell us just a bit about who you live with or your family.
Currently live in Trout Creek, Montana, very small rural town in northwest Montana. I am the mom of 6, proud wife of my high school sweetheart, and almost Nana to 4. The 4th grandchild will be born in another month. So very big family.
Yeah, I love it. And now where is Trout Creek?
Trout Creek is just about an hour south of Coeur d'Alene. Actually, it's about southeast of Coeur d'Alene, and about 2 hours north of Missoula, Montana. So it's kind of just this little pocket up in the corner of Montana.
Okay, cool. I didn't know it was that close to Coeur d'Alene. I'm doing a keynote there in November, and I've never actually been to Coeur d'Alene before. So I hear it's really nice there too.
It is. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Now, why did you pick that? Why did you pick that area of Montana? What's going on there?
So we actually fell in love with Montana about 20 years ago on our first road trip, this part of Montana. I had no clue at the time that I would end up living here. And then a few years back, we came back to this part of Montana on another road trip, went to Glacier for the first time, fell more in love. And then 2 years back, had to redo some vacation plans, decided to come back to this part of the area and fell completely in love and decided, you know what? We're going to start looking for property. We're going to retire here someday. And found some property within the year, bought the property. And then a year later, life happened. And in those circumstances, we decided we weren't going to wait to retire to enjoy this part of our lives. We were going to take the leap and figure it out as we go. And so we left Oregon and moved to Montana and are developing a 20-acre parcel that had nothing on it.
Wow, I just got chills. So let's say, talk about that for a second though, because even though I was saying the topic is investing in yourself, that's a huge investment for your family
for
and
our
taking a
family.
big risk. And how many people say, I'm going to do this and I want this, but I'm waiting for this to happen. And then they wait their whole entire life and then they don't ever do it. And how
That was our
scary it
fear.
probably
Yep.
was. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that
I
was our
know
fear.
when Joel and I sold our house that we raised our kids in and sold all of our stuff, gave it away and like just moved, it was really scary.
Yeah.
But also the most freeing and the most rewarding. And it continues to really just be an abundance of opportunities and blessings by not having that attachment anymore. So
Yeah.
cool. I'm
Yeah.
excited for you guys. Well, tell me about what is one of your favorite books and why?
You know, I have done so much really great reading this year. Each year I try to pick about 12 books, one book a month, and just sometimes it'll be a referral from a friend, sometimes it'll just be something I see on Amazon, but I pick about 12 and I buy them at the beginning of the year, which is what's funny. I want to have them ahead of time and then pick as I go. And at the first of the year, I love Joanna Gaines, and I picked her new book called The Stories. And there was not one thing in this book that just blew my mind. It was the concept of each of us having a story and how immensely important each of our stories are. And it
Mm,
just blew my mind. And it was so eye opening to me. And so, even though I've read some other really great books already this year, I'm going to go back to that one because it was just, it was the gateway for me to kind of walk through and start opening some other parts of my journey and how I'm going to move forward.
hmm. I remember actually you telling me about that book.
Yeah.
And now that I say it, I'm like, I'm interested in right now, I'm really intentionally limiting things. So I'm
Okay.
only really focused on consuming things that are towards my goals right now that I'm working on, or my dreams and my big vision that I have with Joel. And so creativity or building legacy are two of the areas. And I feel like that story, the storytelling and the creativity, that could be a good one
Yeah.
to add. So thank you
Definitely.
for that.
Yeah.
What so everyone knows that I love to cook and I love to use real food and I love to cook at home. It's like my favorite thing to do. Joel's always like, why don't you sit and relax and like cooking and baking, even though often I don't eat some of the things that I bake because I eat gluten and dairy free and sugar free and I don't always bake that way. But it's just something that I love to do. And so what is one of your favorite things to make at home, to cook at home?
Oh, that's my heart. So I've always loved to cook. But I think I am also gluten free, dairy free, try to limit my
Mm-hmm.
sugar. So baking, the term baking has become not as fun as it used to be for me. I still enjoy it. It's just not as fun. But something I took up was Indian food. And boy, howdy, I mean, I just get all crazy when I start making Indian food because I love the taste of it and I love what's in it and I feel healthy when I'm eating it. And um, like I can't eat naan in a restaurant, but at home I could make it where I can eat it. And so I
Mm.
think I'd have to say right now, Indian food and green curry is really, really up there on the list.
Yeah, so I assume like a lot of like heavy spices and maybe like coconut
Yep.
milk, and you can
Yeah.
like dip the gluten-free naan bread in
And
like
all
the
that
juicy
sauce.
goodness.
Yes.
What is one of the main spices for that? I'm not really sure
It's
what
called
Indian food.
It's called garam masala. I have to
Oh
order. I
yeah.
can't even
Yeah.
find it in stores here. I mean, remember I'm rural, so I order them on
Mm-hmm.
Amazon. But yeah, it is, and it's so yummy. Mm,
Yeah, I have it in my cupboard, but I don't use it very often, so I'll have to look up a recipe for that
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Tell us, what are you most excited about in life right now?
Oh boy. So I think I'm most excited right now is just about I'm growing this personal coaching speaking business that I've started. My heart has just been blown open in what my purpose is or what I should be doing from here on out in a different way. And the more I dive into it, the more I dig into it, or even just build it, it just fills my heart. And I'm excited for what that looks like and what that will end up being.
I'm so excited. It's been so fun, like seeing you on this journey. So for everyone listening, Corree is going to be a graduate of Flow Academy, which is the signature holistic life coaching certification for leaders, coaches, and entrepreneurs that I founded. And part of that to get your certification is you need to do practice coaching calls, of which I watch and then provide feedback, which is so valuable because you leave the program knowing that you have all the skills and tools and resources, and you're not questioning yourself. So you're confident in your coaching skills. And watching Corree with her clients and her open-heartedness and how she creates this space of challenging her client, but also having them be so seen, like you're just so great at it. It just comes just naturally. So yeah, I'm so excited for you too for that. So thank you so much for sharing, and welcome to the podcast and our conversation about investing in yourself. So let's go over to Jen, and why don't you share a little bit? Where did you grow up?
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I grew up in Florida, so in particular, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Okay. And share us a little bit about where you live now and who you live with, your family.
I'm still in South Florida, and it works out so nicely. I really love the weather, the sunshine. I'm always eating lunch outside. I live with my husband. I have 2 dogs. I have a big Hispanic family, a mom, dad, sisters, and a brother.
Yeah, I love that. I love whenever we do calls around the lunch hour, Jen is always outside, like no joke. She's out there and she just is chilling in the sunshine. And I mean, we don't live very far from each other because I'm in Miami Beach. So I love being outside too. And I know one of the things when we first started working together was like, how do we reset ourselves? You know, when we're getting thrown off, it's like, just get outside. And that's such the blessing that we have here, especially in Florida, that we can just almost every single day just be outside and just truly enjoy it. So, and I'm loving that the humidity has been down like this week. It's been perfect out there.
Yeah.
So tell us what one of your favorite books are and why.
It definitely has to be Return to Love, which you had recommended. And it was the first book that opened me up towards my spirituality.
Yeah. Tell us more about that. Like, what were you like before you started the book? What were you thinking around religion or spirituality, and what did it really open you up to?
I was super closed off to religion. I thought it was harsh, unaccepting of others. And so I never really jived with it, even since I was younger. And when I started reading it, it started opening my eyes. And with different gifts in the books, I was started to receive. And it's such a blessing just to be able to read it. And at that time, go through coaching with you, because I was finding treasures each day. So it was really a great.
I know. I love it too. That's one of my favorite books that I read. Oh, geez. It's over a decade now that really cracked me open to not only spirituality or religion and looking at that differently, but just like so it's for those of you that haven't read it, it's a book by Marianne Williamson, and she teaches based on A Course in Miracles. And A Course in Miracles is a metaphysical text, and the whole idea of the text is a return to love. And love is where we're centered and grounded and peaceful. And it's not that we try to escape fear or never have fear. It's just getting away all the blocks that are blocking love. And so that's kind of the whole premise of it, but it really shifts your mindset. And one of the things that it says in there is a miracle is defined as simply a shift in your perception. And so I love what you just shared. You read the book and you had so many miracles. I know during our time working together, one of the assignments that we talked about was like, today, look for all the beauty and wonder you can find, right? Because often society tells us like that we have a negativity bias. One thing goes wrong and we're always looking for what's going to go wrong, versus like, let's look for the beauty and wonder, you know, amaze me today, God, or like, show me all the beauty and wonder today. And I just think that that's so beautiful. So I love that you experienced a miracle reading it too. I received the exact same thing. And I know, I think Corree's read it too. So yeah, it's a good one for sure. So what about you? What is your favorite thing to cook at home?
Oh, for cooking, anything easy. So something in the air fryer. I really like Dijon mustard salmon in the air fryer. It's super
Mm,
delicious. This week I
mhm.
did chicken and squash in the air fryer. But something I recently turned on to is mocktails. So I love making mocktails. I stopped drinking in January, so I still get to have fun drinking a mocktail.
I love that so much. Okay,
Yeah.
so we have to ask, just because we've talked about it on the podcast before, and I've talked about not drinking and drinking alcohol. So what was the thing that you wanted to start, like not drinking, and then why have you continued?
The thing that I wanted to start drinking.
No, excuse me, long day. So words are not coming out the right way when I'm asking questions here. So what was the thing, like the catalyst to get you to get curious about not drinking and to try it out? And
Yeah.
then why have you continued?
What got me curious is there a better way to live? Is there a better way I can decrease my
Mm.
anxiety? I was having so much anxiety, and I would only save my drinking for Friday and Saturdays, but the next day I would always have anxiety. And I was so fed up with it. I was uncomfortable, but society has a way of telling us that drinking is how we decrease stress. And so it was programmed in my brain that that's how you decrease stress. But no, it was actually making me even more stressed out. And just working with you, knowing that it raises your cortisol levels, what if I just stopped? So I just started doing it 1 month at a time. Did the dry January. I felt really good. So I did the next month, dry February, and it just kind of continued. And each month I just felt really good. And I said, you know what? I like feeling this way. Why don't I just continue?
I love that. And I hope that everybody hears that too. Like what you said was you didn't make a hard and fast rule, like, I'm never doing this again. I feel like when we say never, or it has to be black and white, or this or that, bad or wrong, good, right or wrong, like then like our human desire is to want for it, right? But when you're like, oh, I'm just going to try this out for a month, and you got curious, you collected your evidence, and then you're like, oh, this worked for me. I'm going to see if I can just integrate this into my life and see how it works, all on the simple idea of you wanted to feel good. What
Yeah.
if all of us just woke up every day and it was like, how do I want to feel today? It's just like, I want to focus on feeling good. And all of our thoughts, behaviors, and actions equaled that. It
Life
sounds
changing.
so simple to say, but it can be challenging often. Wow, thank you for sharing that, because I know that that's hitting the heart of somebody. And so if somebody's thinking, "Oh, I wonder if I can do that," you can. And you just have to try it, and just tell yourself you're just going to try it. Tell us what you're most excited about in life right now.
I'm so excited that I'm going to be creating a holistic social emotional program using the framework of Flow Academy. So thank you, Carmen, for all of your help and guidance, but specifically for children. So I'm like so excited because I love working with children, and it's such a gift, Flow Academy. So to give it to the kids in their development, I just think will help them foster in a way of oneness and connectedness that we all need.
I love that so much. And that's the whole premise of Flow Academy, is to take the tools and resources and then take the gifts that you already have and then use it for what you're passionate about and what's on your heart. And I think that I know that one of the things that people often do wrong in business is they try to replicate what other people are doing versus like what's on my heart, and then taking what they've learned and doing it their way. And so I love both of you are doing it your way with what you've learned. That's so beautiful. Now tell us a little bit more, Jen, about how did you get into like working with kids? Like what's your profession now? And then how do you see that kind of like transition?
I'm a speech language pathologist, so I help kids with their communication disorders, fluency, stutter, articulation, language disorders. And so I've helped kids with their communication and their development through language for about 7 years now. And I love that. But as I've been in the school system and at private practices, I've been finding this disconnect with their heart. It's almost like we're not able to communicate. And it's so interesting because I myself wasn't able to communicate at a certain time. And I've been finding my voice using Flow Academy, finding my voice. So really using the profession of speech language pathology for kids to find their own voice too in development,
Mm.
connectedness, and oneness.
That is so beautiful. Isn't it so wonderful to see when we can step back and we can zoom out? And sometimes we feel like, oh, I don't like this thing I'm doing anymore, or you're feeling frustrated, or maybe like, I don't know what my next thing is. But if we can just zoom out and be like, oh, I see how all these things, all these opportunities, and all these things that I did throughout my life actually build to this greater purpose and this new assignment that God has for my life. And then I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to do it really well. And I'm going to be obedient to the calling and I'm going to serve. And then something else is probably going to come. But it all builds on each other. Even the times when we feel challenged or even the times when we feel really great, like they all build on each other. And it's just all a process of learning and enjoying. Both of you are going to make such a huge impact and you already are in the world. So thank you for having this conversation today. So let's dive in a little bit more now that we got to know you a little bit. And at the end, we'll be sure to share how you can contact Corree and how you can contact Jen. So let's talk about investing in ourselves. So my first question for the group is, have you always invested in yourself? And if not, what held you back? And Corree went first last time. So Jen, why don't you take a stab at this one?
I don't think I've ever really invested in myself. I think it was when COVID happened for a lot of people, you start to self-reflect, and I just had so much anxiety. So it was during then that I decided to go to my first in-person event, which was the catalyst to my growth. So investing in myself, going to this event led me to meeting you, Carmen, which led me to having coaching through you and Flow Academy, which has opened me up to so many blessings.
Okay, so we have to unpack this a little bit because I didn't know that Empower Her was your first investment in yourself. Okay, so we have to talk about how this worked because this only happens if you go with an open heart and an open mind and you're willing to open yourself up and be available to what's possible for you. So how Jen and I actually met, we randomly sat next to each other during the event. We didn't know each other at all. And our energy was just so connected. There was this moment, and I just remember like this hug that we had and this emotion that we had, and we really connected. And it wasn't something that either one of us had planned on. And we went to leave, and like we shared earlier, we both live in Florida, and we happened to be at the airport at the exact same time, and we talked. And then from then on, it was just like, it was a divine like intervention of us coming together, because not only, like Jen is saying, it's been a blessing for her, but it's been a blessing for me as well to have her in my life. But just think, if we went to that event, we invested in ourselves, we went to the event, but we were closed off. If we didn't really talk to each other, even though we were sitting next to each other, because we didn't know each other, if we didn't have that moment, that opportunity for that hug and just to like be accepting and be like, okay, this feels good right now, and be okay with that, no matter what anybody else thought. And it was just so, so beautiful. And so I actually didn't know that that was the first. Wow. And the growth that you have had by making these investments in yourself has been like, I don't know, 100-fold.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So it goes to show it's not only investing in yourself, but then doing the work to show up so you're open and available to receive. And that's what you did. And that's why you're getting this success now that you're feeling, and the joy. Yeah. How about you, Corree? Have you always invested in yourself?
Yeah, no. You know, as a mom, as a middle child, I was always pleasing everybody, you know, like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? So, the first time I truly invested in myself, like pay to play, right? Like investing was with you. I was coming off the tail end of 13 years of foster care, and I had been physically and mentally drained. I'm gonna cry. And I needed to lose some weight because I'd let my health go. And so a cousin of mine had actually used you, and I had read her post. And so I thought, you know what? And then, weird, but you're related to a cousin. So it was just kind of like, okay, this feels a little bit comfortable. And I wanted something that felt a little bit comfortable. And I reached out to you about personal training because I knew I needed help, that I couldn't just jump back in by myself. And that's what I thought I was getting, was personal training, losing some weight. And but in that connections, I also started getting in rooms with women that wanted change and wanted more, and were women that inspired me. And so it was tenfold. I lost the weight, I did it, and I felt better than I had felt in a long time, but I also got so much more mental health wise.
Yeah. You had told me the other day that we were on like one of our first calls. And can you tell that story?
Yeah, we were on one of our first calls, and you had asked me like, what do you enjoy in life? And I had said, well, I don't know. And you said, well, that's bullshit. And that's just who I am. I love that. And it just like, it sealed the deal. Like, I'm like, okay, I love this woman. She's not going to let me get away with anything. She's going to make me be accountable for the stories that I tell myself. And at that point, I really didn't think I did know, but you made me think about it. You made the question come up and really start to dial in on what is it that I enjoy in life. And so, yeah, it was funny that just, you said it right from the start, and that's bullshit. And I'm just like, okay.
You're like, I thought I was just going to lose 5 pounds.
I thought I was in this for some weight loss, and that's it.
This is a whole nother thing. Interestingly enough, though, if you think about investing in yourself, and I think about investing in myself, I didn't always invest in myself either. I would listen to the podcast or read the books, or I would do worse off. I would invest in myself and go to the event, but I would be the wallflower that didn't raise their hand or didn't connect with anybody. Or I would go with other people and only talk to those other people. And so there was really no expansion at all. Now, if I go to events with other people, like, you better believe, like, I'm probably going to be off somewhere talking to other people too, because I'm there. I want to soak it all in. I want to learn. And so I didn't always invest in myself either. And thinking back to when I first started my coaching business about a decade ago, I was a holistic nutritionist, but I started really uncovering with each of the clients that I would work with around nutrition and fitness. It was like everybody needs help with their mindset. And so following those breadcrumbs, and I was like, oh, mirror back to me, maybe I need help with my mindset. So get more training, get more certification. And that's how it really delved into this holistic life coaching that I offering. And then what's part of Flow Academy now too, is because I listened to those little nudges and those signs, versus at first I did it just like everybody else was. Oh, become a nutritionist, become a personal trainer. That's what you do. You don't have any time freedom at all because you're just doing all these one-on-one appointments all the time. And in Flow Academy, you have an opportunity where you can come up with something where you don't have to just trade your time for money. But I love that. I love that so much. And I think that everyone can resonate with it. So if you're somebody that hasn't started investing in yourself, or maybe you have, but you're not fully open and engaged to the process, like, it's time to check yourself. Maybe you need to call yourself on your own BS and be like, okay, the next event I go to, I'm going to sit in the front. I'm going to ask a question. My intention is always, I want to make 2 new intentional relationships. Now, they may not be like my best friends, but they may be. But I want them to be in one of my inner circles. And that's always my intention whenever I go to any event, because I don't want to be the wallflower anymore. And I know it's really easy for me to do, because sometimes I'm giving so much in what I do that it's nice to be able to sit back. Mm-hmm. But do we just want to sit back through our whole entire life, or do we want to be engaged and feel a sense of aliveness for it? What would you say? I'm trying to think of mine too. What is the best investment that you've ever made? I'm going to answer first, and you guys can think about it. But so the first thing that comes to my mind, and it may not be the best one, but let's just say one of the best, was last year. So I invested in a couples mastermind where Joel and I actually did something together. And that comes to top of mind because this year, instead of having like individual, so we always had like kind of a goal together, but we didn't have a big like God-sized dream together. We had those individually, And now this year we have this big, like, God-sized vision and dream that we're circling that, seems almost impossible, but I know that we're going to get there. And so we have that. And so I think back, like, what really paved the way for that and to make that possible today. And I think that investing in that couple's mastermind. So that year it was like, oh, I don't remember. So people always want to know how much investments cost, right? So that year I probably invested around like $30,000 in different masterminds and groups and programs. But it was the best year because the other thing that it taught me was I remembered who the fuck I was.
Mm.
And I stopped doling my own significance. And I started, it was like I got to this level and I was just there, but I couldn't see that there is so much more that I was being asked to do. And it was all because I was just kind of downplaying my significance, just keeping me here. So I would say that was probably the best investment because not only did it grow me professionally and personally, but it grew my relationship too. What about you, Corree? What comes to mind for you?
It's gonna be it's gonna go back to what I just shared, and it's not because I lost the 30 pounds or I met you, but it's because by investing in myself and taking that leap, my eyes were open to so much more. And then in that more, it's kind of circle around. My relationships have changed so much because I have so much more purpose. I have so much more confidence in myself. I have so much more. I know that I am meant for so many bigger things, and my connection to God and my connection to my intuition is just, it's like it's never been. And those then in turn, like for my husband sitting here watching me make these changes in the past 3 years and transition and become this human that is just something he didn't even know was there. And it's inspiring him. It's inspiring him to want to make change. And, my adult children come to me and say, I don't need a counselor, Mom. I watch you. And that is just like, wow, that is so impactful. And it's like, okay, it's not just about what I'm doing. It's about how it's affecting everybody around me. And it was for saying yes to one thing, because, honestly, when I came to you that first time, it's like, oh, that's a lot of money. And I almost didn't want, but I needed to make change, and I made that investment. And so that has to be the first one. The first time I said yes.
Yeah. I love how you said it creates that ripple effect.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful to see the ripple effect. And that's one of the reasons too why I created Flow Academy, or I invite people to join me, to join us in being the one to show the world how great life truly is, because it is. And if more people showed up like that every day and fully believed in that, like you said, you're closer to God and closer to love. And what that brings you is this like sense of freedom and inner peace on the inside that is unshakable. Like whatever's happening around you, you might get thrown off for a moment, but your comeback rate is so much faster, and you can recalibrate to love and peace. And that's okay. Whatever's happening around you, you're going to be really resilient to that. And so I love that. It's just such a ripple effect. I know God told me earlier this year, great job, Carmen. You created a really good ripple. Now it's time for a wave. I was like, I don't even know what that is. What are we? So you guys are part of making a wave now. So I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like, but it's going to get bigger. So I'm so excited you're on this journey with me. What about you, Jen? What was one of the best investments that you made, do you think?
I'm so happy to be on this wave with all of you all. Best investment, coaching with you, Carmen, hands down. It has allowed me to have a permission to really take my health seriously. I had so many health concerns from HPV. There'd be like 5 years I would have abnormal cells results. And it was so frustrating. And every year they would say, you need surgery, have surgery to get this abnormal cells out of there. And when you go to Western medicine, you think that's the way and that's the only answer. So by doing coaching with you, I got serious about my mental health, about my physical health, which allowed me to find a functional medicine doctor and realize Western medicine is not always the answer. And half the time it's not. The answer often starts with ourselves. We're often the problem. And the great thing about that too is that we're often the solution. So it started with me and finding my health seriously, and then finding yourself, the functional medicine practitioner, knowing that Western medicine does not have the answers for me, that I have the answers, and so does Eastern medicine.
I love that so much. And it's so interesting how we all have an idea. I'm going to do this investment, right? And then it's going to be this one thing that it's going to quote unquote fix, right? We're all looking externally. When it all comes back to like flipping that mirror back on ourselves and going back internally, but then it creates like just so much more abundance and joy and thriving and nourishment in all areas of our life. And I hope everybody hears that. And I don't want people to think that this podcast is meant to be like, do coaching with Carmen. That's not what the intention was for this podcast. I didn't know that all of these kind words, while I am receiving them because I am open to receive. So thank you both. But it's finding a community near you. It's engaging in deep, meaningful conversations that are so needed. No more surface level conversations. It's finding the right coach for you. It's finding the right mentor for you. It's doing what you need to do with your capability, with your budget to be able to up-level your life. And I can tell you it's probably not going to be possible for you to do alone, because you're just going to get stuck in those negative thought cycles that you don't realize are programmed in your subconscious, these neural pathways. And it's going to take someone else to give you a little jolt to get out of them. But once you're on that path, like that's when it can really be the trajectory to change your whole entire life, like Corree and Jen are both talking about. So the one question I think that is challenging for most people, and probably challenging for both of you too, is how do you select between so many options? How do you know what's right for you? And I'll give you a second to think about that. And one of the things that I always think about now, because I have made some investments in myself. Now, while I don't think any investment that I've made in myself or any choice or decision, like I don't think you can ever make the wrong decision, because you're always going to have a learning lesson from it. So I've made investments in myself before where I expected one thing and something else happened. And maybe the mastermind or the group or the program or the coaching wasn't didn't fit me for that time of my life. For example, I invested in something that was way too far ahead of me. And so I couldn't keep up, and I tried to do absolutely everything. So then it dulled like the thing that I was trying to be great at. And so for me, what I look for anyway is someone that's a little bit further ahead of me that has a proven track record of what I think, that the way that I think I want to go. In addition to that, I can make a personal connection with them somehow, or I'm connected to them energetically. Because I'm a go-getter, and I'm not going to be connected to someone that's like just like ho-hum, they kind of have to have a go-getting attitude too. So energy is really big for me. And then to make sure that while you want to stretch yourself, I'm not saying not to stretch yourself, because you do want to be in the room and try to have everyone else be like smarter than you, because that's where you're really, really going to grow. But you don't want it to be exponentially higher where you're not going to be able to do what you need to do within the program. Corree, how do you make a selection? Like what's your selection process like? What do you think about?
Well, I think what you said a little bit, but I'm going to take it a couple steps back, because that first time you invest in yourself, you don't have anything to guide yourself on. You're like, wait, I don't know what to do. And so, for me, like the first time I invested in myself, it had to come from somebody I knew, maybe not exactly the same as who I am, but I needed that little bit of comfort, because you go out into this big, broad world of a gazillion practitioners and coaches and nutritionists, and who do you like? And I'm like you. And thankfully, God led me to you, because I need a no nonsense, no bullshit kind of personality, because when people try to soften all the edges for me, it actually annoys me. I just want you to tell me what I need to do, and I'll do it. So I knew within that first couple meetings, oh, she's going to get me where I need to go. She's going to guide me so that I can do the work. But also sometimes we have to take a risk, right? Like we took recently I took a risk in my business and I went to a big conference, big people that know so much more than I do, because I know I need to get into rooms in order to grow. And it was a great conference, but you know what? I didn't make the connections in my business that I wanted to make. But you know what I did do is that I was in the room, I was open, I was hearing everything, and I made other connections. I made internal connections. I made these like aha moment connections by being me and by being in the moment and being in a room that needed something different. So sometimes we have to take a risk too.
I love that so much. Yeah. And I don't want people to misinterpret what I said about you don't want to stretch. You want to stretch yourself. You want to get into rooms where you're uncomfortable. But the specific mastermind that I'm talking about that I joined just kept giving me all this like business strategy. This new business strategy, this new business strategy, this one, this one, this one, this one. And that's not what I needed at that moment. And I tried to implement it all. Like I didn't need to learn how to like sell on LinkedIn and do Facebook ads and do this type of lead magnet and do this and do this. Like it was too much and I couldn't discern because so much was coming at me, like what was for me and what was not for me. But what you just said is you got in this room and you got uncomfortable, but you were able to adequately discern what was for you.
Right.
So looking back now, as I'm speaking, turn that mirror back on myself. Maybe the problem wasn't the room that I was in. Maybe it was me. And I was still in my ego self trying to do it all and prove that I could do it. So look at that little aha breakthrough, right? What about you, Jen? How do you decide on like what's right for you? I know we've had some conversations over the last few months and you've been very discerning and it's been so fun to see.
For myself, I felt always divinely guided to you. And even after those decisions that I made after coaching with you, I've always kind of followed my intuition. And that's what I would recommend to others, following your gut, your intuition. What is leading you? What feels good for you? And also, do you feel seen, safe, and heard with the person that you want coaching from or help assistance from?
I love that. How do you know if you're following your intuition or if you're just like thinking of a good plan?
When you can sit in stillness and there's a little bit of just comfort. For me, it's comfort.
I love that. I think that too around intuition. Do you have anything else to add to that, Corree? Any like how do you listen to your intuition or the voice of God or whatever, like versus like your ego telling you what you should be doing?
I think it's definitely what you said, but I have something to add to it. So like when my intuition really speaks to me and I follow it and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's that but it's also that bubbling excitement at the same time. It's this combination of like, oh my gosh, that's it. And then there's just this energy. There's no worry. There's no what ifs. It's just this energy and this aha.
I love that. Yeah. And what both of you just said is something that often we don't do when we're making decisions. We're doing making the list to make the decision. You know, we're thinking it through versus being still, like what Jen said, and like both of you said, listening. You were listening to your body. It's like more of a feeling, and your intuition is soft and subtle and it's calming and with a little bit of excitement under there. But then your ego, if it's telling you what to do and it's driving the show because you want that invisible gold star, you want people to see you, like what I was just talking about, that's going to be fast and that's going to be barky and that's going to be loud and that's going to want you to do it right away. And that's going to want you to control the outcomes and white knuckle it. And it's going to feel more like you have to kind of energy versus you get to. And so people can use that for themselves as a little takeaway on when they're deciding as well. Now, as we've talked about, I want to talk a little bit more about Flow Academy if anybody is interested in Flow Academy. So Flow Academy opens for enrollment again on September 25th, 2023. And we kick off the official curriculum on, I believe it's Tuesday, October 10th, which I'm so excited for. And it is really the signature holistic life coaching program for leaders, coaches, and entrepreneurs. And as we've been talking about, it's to up level not only your business or to start a new coaching business or coaching practice, but it's also to up level your life and your relationships and your health. Because how we learn in Flow Academy is you do the work in your life with the tools and resources first. This is what makes all the coaches and the graduates of Flow Academy so top notch, is because they are practicing what they're preaching. You don't want to go to the nutritionist that weighs 400 pounds. You want to go to the one that actually does what he or she is telling you to. So that's how you learn. And then you have this supportive community, just like why we're on this podcast right now, to support you along the way throughout your journey as well. Why did you either one of you join Flow Academy? Like what was the thing that made you say yes? What do you think, Jen?
For myself, I was riddled with anxiety, but I didn't even realize it. I didn't realize how much I was so anxious. And I thought because I was so normal, it was so normal, and it is so normal. And that's the thing. So many people have anxiety, and everybody says, just take this medicine. I was on anxiety medication. My coworkers were on anxiety medications. It is made to seem normal, but it's not, and it doesn't have to be. And so I made the decision when I decided to ask the question, is there a better way to live? There has to be.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. And so how would you say Flow Academy has impacted your life or your business, your health, your relationship? Share a little bit about that.
For myself, well, going back to the HPV, I did the 2 biopsies months ago, and they finally came back normal after 5 years. So it's just evidence to show that this does work. Start working on yourself first, and the rest will follow. And then my relationships as well. My relationship with my husband, Adam, because I've been working on myself, it's given him permission to work on himself.
Right. And then this new business.
Right? Whoa. Totally. And the new business, everything is just following suit as it kind of should. Mm-hmm. And it's so exciting.
So do you think if you didn't start coaching in Flow Academy that you'd be where you're at today? Like if you didn't make an investment in yourself, would you still be in the same job? Share with us a couple of the feelings that you felt before. Like, what did you think about before?
I thought I would be the same, speech language pathologist, which is fine. It's almost considered good. It's a good profession, career, and it's what I'm doing now. But now I'm striving for great. I don't want good anymore. I want great, and I think it's achievable.
Yeah, I agree. So do you remember back months ago, was there any certain underlying feelings that you felt before? I know you mentioned anxiety, but what else?
Fear, nervousness. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't want to be seen.
How did that feel like in your life? What did you do?
I wouldn't communicate. I wouldn't stick up for myself or advocate for my needs or wants, which really hindered my relationship, because when I wasn't advocating for myself, things would be under the carpet, getting taller and taller. And I was tripping over this carpet because of so many things that was piling up on me so much. And that's what really created all the health concerns I had, and all the anxiety that was building was everything that I wasn't communicating and advocating for myself.
Yeah, that's so powerful. So powerful. I'm so glad you made the decision to invest in yourself. Who would you say Flow Academy is for?
Like I said before, the mother, sister, cousin, everybody. And really it's for the woman with anxiety. It's the woman who has been going to that Western doctors and have not been receiving answers, that have been getting roundabout answers, that need more help and support.
I love that answer, because oftentimes people think, oh, well, I don't want to be a holistic life coach. I don't want to get the certification. And someone asked me on a podcast interview earlier this week, how many people actually go and do the practice and get certified? And I was like, actually about half, 65%. And the other half come just to get the skills for themselves, because just like you get the skills for yourself, and then it helps you in your life, in your career, your passion, your relationships, your health. And it's needed for everyone. So thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Corree, what about you? How did you know that it was right for you?
I didn't. I honestly didn't. I had to convince myself. I had to have other people kind of tap in. I was very, very hesitant to it. I definitely highlighted holistic life coach. I'm like, well, I don't want to be a holistic life coach. But in my business training, you had done some practice coach calls with your first group, and I met somebody new in that. And in expressing to her just this intuition, this insight that I had been having, this something more was in there, and I didn't know exactly what it looked like, or maybe I kind of did. And she just kept saying, I really think that you would do really well. And I know you would do really well, but I think you might begin to uncover what you're looking for if you went through the training. And I even talked to you. I was like, I don't know. Financially, we just made this huge, big transition to Montana. But I think what really finally got me is that we came here to live a different life. And it wasn't the life of same old, just do what society says to do. And even though we weren't in a lot of ways, I could kind of see my business going that direction of just plugging along. And so I finally just said, nope, I'm going to do this. I'm going to invest in myself, and I'm going to see what happens. And I did it. And I am so blessed that I did it. Definitely.
Yes. And we are too. How has it impacted, like, what is one of the biggest things that's impacted your life, your health, your relationships, or business?
So for me, I think, like my health, I think I was in a really good place. But I think what it's done for me is just really connect me with me, like who I am, who do I want to be, and how do I want to make an impact in this world? And then in my business, it's also just given me this opportunity to relax. So that's that mindset, right? Like I'm not forcing, I'm not pushing, I'm just in it. And that connection with myself, I think, is what's done that and brought on this level of calm and quiet. And that calm and that quiet is just so powerful.
Agreed. I love that so much. I keep talking about over and over again the power of the pause.
Yeah.
Just pausing. I mean, what if it's like just 3 seconds so you could take a deep breath? So that's so beautiful, coming back home to yourself, because so often we lose ourselves out in the world. We start building this identity for ourselves, and we get to a spot where, like I was sharing earlier, like everything's good and nothing's necessarily wrong, but everything feels wrong and you just don't know what it is. And it's usually that you need to come back home to yourself and reclaim who you truly are and uncover who you truly are, because you've covered it up with all these lived experiences and crappy stories and armor to try to guard ourselves. How beautiful. Who would you say Flow Academy is for?
For the women that think they know they're strong. They're women that do. They're women that have achieved, and everyone looks from the outside going, oh, well, yeah, she's got it all made. Those are typically the women that I think of. I have so many similarities with Jen and medicine and all that, but I think that the women that don't think they need the help are usually the women that need the most help. Honestly, they're the ones that are I'm
raising both my hands.
They're the women telling them those stories, like, this is what society says I should do, so this is what I'm going to do. They're the women that are burnt out. I'm been the burnt out one of just always doing, and raising the bar of what I'm doing next and next and next, but never truly coming back to myself and what I needed.
What another, like that whole conversation. I was going to ask another question about that, but we're almost at time, and like that would open up a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I'm just forever changed because of working with both of you. And it is just like my heart is exploding just having both of you on the podcast and seeing the growth that's happening in both of your lives and seeing where you're taking what you've learned in Flow Academy and the investments that you're going to make in yourself in the future, even not with me. Again, this wasn't just a podcast about me, but it's about making that investment in yourself, that first one, whether it be $50 to go to your local event, $300 to go to an in-person event, $5,000 to do a training program, whatever it is, like make that investment and take the time and be open and engaged when you do it and make relationships, because life is about those deep, meaningful relationships. And if you want to be successful in life and start a new passion and start a new career, it's about the connections that you're making. It's not about just making money and having transactions. And that's why I love the work that I do so much, is because I see everyone and I want to have a relationship with them. And I'm not sure what's going to happen when Flow Academy grows to thousands and thousands, how I'm going to be able to do that. What I see is amazing women like Jen and Corree will step in and help me do the coaching and grow those relationships, because I want everybody to feel seen. It's so important, because when we feel seen, we know that light within us, that it can shine, because I see yours shine, mine can shine, and we just keep going and going and going and just showing the world how great life truly can be. So with that being said, to wrap up, why don't you each share with us just like one last little tidbit, if someone's apprehensive on joining Flow Academy, if they're thinking it's right for them, or even making that $50 investment in themselves, what would you say? And then also after that, just share how we can reach you and connect with you in the future. What do you got, Corree?
The thing I keep coming back to is would you make the investment for your child or your husband or your mom? Because if you would, then it's right for you. And we need to remember that, because when our loved ones see what we're investing in ourselves, they'll do the same thing. So there's that. And then how can you connect with me? beauthenticallyyou@gmail.com. I would love to see it. And B is BEE, like the bumblebee, beauthenticallyyou@gmail.com.
And what's your Instagram?
Your story, your journey.
Okay. And I'll link all that in the show notes too, so you can make sure and connect. And we would all love to hear your takeaways. And we would love to hear what investments you're making in yourself, because the year is not over. Often at this time, people start thinking, oh, I'll do it in the new year. But why wait? The best time is now. If you tell yourself you're going to wait till the new year, then you're going to have another excuse in the new year, and it's just never going to happen. So the best time is now for sure. So for you, Jen, what would you say to someone that's apprehensive? And then how can we reach out and contact you?
For someone who's apprehensive, definitely investing in yourself is a catalyst that creates a ripple effect of blessings upon blessings. And it makes me cry a little bit, because it's something my sister had said to me when she passed away, that I would have blessings upon blessings. And reflecting back right now, I'm like, wow, thank you. So to reach out to me, you can find me at Instagram, Jen_Lazarus. And then I have another one for my business one, Sunny_expressions for Instagram.
And again, all of that will be in the show notes. Also, how you can join Flow Academy. There is a wait list right now for Flow Academy, because the doors aren't opening for enrollment until September 25th. But if you get on the wait list, you'll have access to a huge discount of $1,000, and you can enroll before anyone else and grab the spot, so you make sure that you actually get one. So that'll be 2 days before. So make sure you go to carmenoling.com/flow to get on that wait list and get that huge discount, so you can allow that investment that you're going to make in yourself be the catalyst for the trajectory of your entire life. Thank you so much for being here, for being part of the community, for sharing so vulnerably, for being so open-hearted and so willing. And why I selected both of you is because you both have such a service heart. you will do for others, but you also have learned the magic skill of doing for yourselves and taking care of yourselves too, which is the magical combination that we all need to, right? Focus on feeling good every day so then we can show other people how to feel good every day. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay!
Oh my gosh, I just want to cry. Thank you so much.
Okay, Jen, stop. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so Corree, just so you know, why Jen and I had that hug is because she had shared with me about like her sister passing. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, I have the chills right now. Can you see them? I just felt so strongly like her presence. And we were so like connected around her sister at the event. And just to hear you say that, Jen, like blessings upon blessings. And that I never knew that she said that to you. And I remember like how much you have talked to me about how your sister was your number one supporter and encourager. And now she still is, but she's within you and you know that. And you're just channeling that through you because you know it. That is just so amazing to see. Oh.
Yeah.
So many good moments. So something that I'll do is I will actually download the whole episode. And so I'll send it to you both. So if you wanted to, you could actually take like snippets of this and you could use like when you're talking, I have it on speaker view. So when you're talking, then you're just on the screen. And so you could snippet it out and use it like for your social media.
Okay.
And so I was thinking about that, Jen, when you said you were talking about your business, maybe you could use a few of those snippets for your business or yours too, Corree. But yeah, but I'll send it to you too. And then I think it's gonna be like 2 weeks when this one comes out because I had a spot for it. So it'll be so beautiful. And then I'll share like the graphic image and tag you so you can repost it and share it on your stories and everything like that. This was so much fun. And look at how natural you are at podcasts. Now you guys can go on all the podcasts that you want.
I love it.
Right? But isn't it fun when it's just a conversation?
Yes, that's the way they should all be, I feel.
Yeah. It's so fun. And it just like really naturally flowed with the three of us. And that's something that I look for is, I mean, yeah, I want to be on big, huge podcasts too. I want, I do want that. That would be helpful. But I love just talking to people, and like that have like energy and it just flows so freely. So thank you. Thank you for your willingness. I appreciate you both. Any questions you have on anything? Any questions you have on anything? No? Soak it all in and celebrate this moment too.
Okay. Love you.
Okay. Bye. Love you.
Bye.